non-stop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com. Purple Daily, presented by Surly Brewing Company.
Yeah.
Football.
You gave us a chance at the end, but I got 3 words for you. You like that?
Yes. Oh, I'll tell you, that was like the peak of the Zimmer Cousins era there, right? They beat the Saints and
They won a playoff game.
yeah, it was a blast. So, well, this is kind of a, I don't know, we've been doing these little bonus Wednesday episodes the last few weeks, and we like to float a little bonus episode. There's so much happening over the next few weeks. It's a little bit more quiet now, but, you know, of course, Judd had to light a match and throw it into the propane tank there with his report the other day that the Vikings did receive a phone call from the Carolina Panthers. And it's just a phone call.
It's just a phone call. People call each other all the time.
By the way, can I ask you, do you know that it was a phone? Because I feel like phone calls are kind of an antiquated way to communicate with people. Are you sure it wasn't a voice memo or like a text exchange? Like, can you confirm that it was actually a phone call, or was it a Zoom?
You know what? I can't. You know what? That's a great. You know what? You know what?
Was it a direct message on social media?
I'm gonna guess it wasn't a text, but it could have been like a Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or like a, what's the other one?
I would say it was
Skype.
I would say it was a form of communication that probably involved voices.
Okay.
So, like, I don't think it was a text, but I do think it was you know, you got a good point. Like, you could probably Skype or Zoom or good.
I don't leave me a voicemail ever, but if you want to leave me a voice memo in the texts, that's acceptable. I'm very finicky with the way that people communicate.
Just text.
Yeah.
Never leave a voicemail.
So that's kind of the backdrop for the week, that this is in our Twitter timelines, because Florio picked this up and Yahoo picked this up. Your timeline's been ablaze on Twitter. Purple Daily, by the way, is presented by our friends at TCL, which is one of the best-selling consumer electronics brands. They have a new lineup of award-winning TVs delivering the most entertainment with stunning resolution, all at an affordable cost. Enjoy more of the things you love with TCL. So you lit the match on fire. It spreads around for 48 hours, and it spread all the way to Charlotte, North Carolina.
Well, it should have.
Mm-hmm. Where the Carolina Panthers flagship radio station reached out. Did they reach out to you and then you just didn't get back to them? Because they reached out to me yesterday.
Another host reached out to me yesterday after you, but it was the midday show. And I explained I can't do the midday show because we, of course, record Mackie and Judd, Purple Daily, and the Rap with Royce at that time.
Yeah,
but no, this show never inquired to the source of said report.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm glad they didn't.
So the afternoon show on WFNZ in Charlotte reached out to yours truly to say, what's up with your co-host? What's up with that report that Judd floated out there saying that the Panthers...
The Clubhouse, by the way.
It is the Clubhouse.
So the Clubhouse reached out to you.
Yep.
Let's not mince words. I mean, you had the Clubhouse calling.
I was in the Clubhouse yesterday. And so they I was kind of listening to some of the chatter in and around like before they got to me. And the hosts weren't exactly thrilled at the idea of acquiring Kirk Cousins. Now, mind you, this is a 5-win team each of the last 3 years, okay? So, Carolina and their quarterback situation's pretty dire. It's like Sam Darnold for $18 million.
And the coach is awful.
Aging Cam Newton. Yeah. So, I think they wanted me to come on and pour some cold water on it and agree with them and say, yeah, you guys, you do not want Kirk. Trust me. All right.
Yep.
This guy wilts in big situations. His contract is absurd. He's not a great leader behind the scenes. Like, I think they wanted me to come on and say those things, which I've never once said in my life. I don't know where they're getting that from.
Indicates that you were the perfect guest then.
Yeah, let's get this Mackie guy on.
Your Twitter account is like, yeah, Phil Mackey is going to tell us what we want to hear, and we'll be out.
Yeah. But old Macadac saw an opportunity, figuring, all right, this is the Panthers' flagship radio station. Mm-hmm. This is the heart of Charlotte, North Carolina. There are probably people in the Panthers front office listening as they drive home. This is afternoon drive. This is like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. They're in their cars. Fans are in their cars. What better opportunity to maybe change the minds of Panthers fans and, I don't know, maybe maybe boost Kirk's trade value a little bit.
Let's just say this: Matt Rule might have been listening.
Yeah, so we got a couple clips.
So I know that Carolina, you guys have been in sort of a mess lately, but at least Matt Rule and Ben McAdoo are offensive-minded guys that can connect with Kirk Cousins. And so when you start to look at, Cousins from a statistical standpoint, 5th best passer rating in NFL history, ahead of Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, Steve Young. I'm not quite putting him in that category, but, his numbers are pretty ridiculous. 3rd highest completion percentage in NFL history. He helped rack up 3,000 receiving yards almost for Justin Jefferson over the first 2 seasons. He really just needs a new home that will embrace him and put some offensive-minded coaches around him. And then you look at the Panthers division. I know it's been 5-win purgatory for the Panthers the last few seasons, but no Tom Brady in the division, no Bruce Arians in the division. The Falcons are a disaster. I feel like Kirk Cousins is the Panthers' gravitational pull back to 8, 9, or 10 wins, just like he's been throughout his entire career. Anything beyond that, it's sort of, still in question. But if you're looking for a quarterback to pull you from 5-win purgatory to at least contending for the playoffs or winning a weak division, he's a pretty perfect fit. I'm not going to lie.
You like that? You like that?
Yeah? What do you think? Ben McAdoo and Kirk Cousins, a dream team in the NFC. A new tandem to take over the division.
The gym coach and his prize pupil. McAdoo looks like a gym coach, and Kirk would be his prize pupil. Now I'm intrigued. Hold on a second.
Now you're starting to think about all the things I just said, and why would the Vikings get rid of a guy? He's 5th best passer rating all time.
I know. Free Kirk. He deserves better. He deserves Ben McAdoo.
Yeah. So, all right. So, so at first they were like, this is ridiculous, right? I said, well, no, listen, look at the stats. This is great. And then we'll play the next clip here. I said, let me float an offer or two and let's just see what you think.
All right, I'm going to be Vikings front office, you be Panthers front office. And so you have called me, according to my colleague, Judd Zolgad, and I'm going to entertain this, and I'm going to throw 2 offers. I'll start with this first offer. Panthers get Kirk Cousins. Vikings take on the Sam Darnold contract. So you can just be done with the disaster that's Sam Darnold. So Kirk Cousins, Panthers, Sam Darnold comes to the Vikings along with the number 6 overall pick.
No, this team doesn't have a day 2 pick. And I don't know how they're getting it back. And they need offensive line help. I just don't think that's what I tend to gather from our listeners is a big reason why they say no. Others have, different motivations behind that. But, this team gave up a 3rd-round pick to trade for C.J. Henderson. They gave up a 6th to trade for Stephon Gilmore, who may walk when it's all said and done. With the desperate needs they have on the offensive line, I don't know how you could justify giving away 6 and Sam Darnold, which is not a deal breaker for anybody, but 6 for Kirk Cousins without a means and no money left, I would think, to solve your offensive line issues. Does that make sense?
Now, I will tell you, Kirk Cousins did have a career-high 4 game-winning drives in 2021. He is the 2-minute Terminator. He is the late-game luminary. So you would get the prowess that is Mr. Game-winning drive down the stretch. I think one of them was against the Lions, but, that's still,
No, it was here. He came in and got one of those. Here. Yeah.
Yeah.
You like that?
I love how you doubled down when he sort of put the kibosh on the trade, and you're like, I will tell you, there are. I'm bringing some facts to the table here.
4 game. He's had 7 game-winning drives the last couple of years. Now, half of them are against the Panthers and Jaguars and Lions. But that's okay.
Talk about. We don't talk about those.
They're all. Those are 32 of the best football teams in the world. Okay.
Exactly right. Exactly
Yeah.
right.
So so they were kind of like, I don't know about the.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dubious.
He's also like, he brought up like how we got to fix this and that, and said, okay, all right. There's got to be some common ground here. Okay, let's float another one. Let's see what you think about this one.
Or maybe not. Let me float this though. Kirk Cousins and the number 12 overall pick to the Panthers. Vikings get the number 6. Let's say a 4th-round pick, 3rd or 4th round pick in 2023, and take the Sam Darnold contract. So it's the first round pick swap.
You've got me listening. I'm listening at that point. Absolutely, I'm listening at that point. However, I still have concerns. You said the 12th overall pick. Maybe a Trevor Penning from Northern Iowa was there. I'm not going to get in the weeds, but I think that could be workable. But I still have questions about the money because there's no money left. I mean, I know $10 million stays with Minnesota if they trade him, but I mean, the Panthers have right now $15 million in available space. I know it's going to go up, but how do you account for 35? That's the big question around here.
I mean, listen. I don't know who Trevor Penning is yet because I haven't gone that deep
on the. My favorite part of that entire thing was he brings up a Northern Iowa guy who might be a first-round pick and then follows it up with, "I don't want to get in the weeds here."
Yeah, that's pretty funny. So no, we're definitely we're talking about Northern Iowa offensive linemen. We're definitely in the weeds now.
We're
definitely
in the weeds.
What do you think? By the end of it, they were again. These guys were like, Kirk Cousins. Come on, man. You're going to tell us this is ridiculous. And by the end, they were like accepting a trade offer.
Yeah, they're listening to you now. Yeah. No, I think that you did yeoman's work there because you could have gone in and done a by the numbers Macadac appearance and said, "Yeah, not really. No, it's probably no. You guys don't want." And instead, you spoke to the Panthers through the flagship, not just the Panthers, but also your Charlotte Hornets. You spoke through them right to the team. I like it. I like what you did.
What time? So this was at 5:15 Eastern time.
Yeah,
everyone's in their car, right?
Oh yeah.
All these football people probably. It's the off season. You're not grinding until 9 o'clock at night. It's more of a probably 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. kind of a thing. I'll bet you there were 2 or 3, I don't know, high-ranking front office officials in their cars going home, see the wife and kids, got some sports, see what the sports radio is saying about the Panthers. Right? I'm here to help. Okay, people rip us sometimes because listen, you're hurting Kirk's trade value by not I just went on Panthers flagship radio, sports talk radio in Charlotte, and I pumped Kirk's tires. Okay,
and they pumped you up too because if I am a Panthers employee, I was told that you are the CEO of Vikings Twitter.
That's right.
And so we're not talking about just some schlep who lives in Seattle who follows. No, we're talking about the CEO of Vikings Twitter.
Now, you better show some respect. Put some respect on the name of the CEO of Vikings Twitter.
The CEO of Vikings Twitter. And by the way, I got bad news. The rest of Vikings Twitter now below Phil Mackey. Because if you're the CEO, that's it.
That's right. Well, I saw somebody in their profile had like vice president or something. I'm like, that's cute. That's all good, okay? But you're all reporting to the CEO of Vikings Twitter.
You like that? You like that?
That's right. So, feel like I did my job there. Feel like I did my job.
I thought you did fine work. I thought you did fine work because, again, I think we all expected the traditional Macadac appearance, the consistent but you took the platform.
Which, by the way, also would have been a great appearance. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but this one spoke to.
It's funny. Panthers. It sounds like they accidentally cross-booked. Like they tried to get. I'm not going to say names here, but there was another Vikings reporter that probably would have come on and poured some cold water on this thing. So if you want Kirk traded, you're lucky. And if you're a Panthers front office person that's looking for an upgrade at quarterback, you're lucky that I was the one that made that appearance yesterday. Okay? That's all I'm saying.
The CEO of Vikings Twitter. There's no more powerful voice in the Midwest who happens to live in the Pacific Northwest than
God
old
bless
Macadac.
Technology.
Yep. An old Mac.
So I feel like you need to. There's a lot. I've just been through the feedback that comes in through our app and through the Twitter messages and stuff. It feels like there's a lot of people that are confused about what is happening right now. All of this is speculation right now, and whether it's the Vikings or other teams, the season's over. Can you, as someone who's covered the NFL for 20 years, both as a reporter, newspaper, also radio, and now podcast and YouTube and social, everything, these next few weeks are probably the most important weeks when it comes to behind-the-scenes conversations that shape the futures of franchises, right?
Yes.
Like the weeks leading up, the combine,
absolutely,
and then into free agency.
Absolutely.
Explain how that works to our audience.
So at 3 p.m. March 16th, which I think is a Thursday, what they call the new NFL league year commences. It begins then. And I believe it's by that time, that your team must be cap compliant. So you obviously don't wait till then to be like, oh, hey, Joe, we got to start to make some moves. So, and I feel like this has gotten pushed up more and more in the last 5 years or so. But what teams are doing right now is making incredibly important decisions about their own roster, who they want to bring back, and starting on Tuesday, which is the start of the combine, which technically runs March 1st through the 7th. So Tuesday through the 7th of March. What you will have is, yes, workouts, draft stuff, but probably far more important, behind the scenes, agents and executives are now all in Indy together.
Yeah.
And what they start to do is, off the record, of course, because it's tampering, have incredibly important discussions about free agents who are going to hit the market. So if I meet with agent A and he represents, let's say, a couple of my players who need extensions or who I just want to touch base with, I talk about my players. But then before agent A walks away, I say, yeah, you got a free agent to safety, and we happen to need one. What's going on there? And so what I would call right now till the start of the league year is groundwork is being laid for future moves. And in the meantime, right now, decisions are being made on your roster. And so that's why the Panthers would call teams about QBs, because to go back to what we've discussed before, the Panthers don't want to draft a quarterback, because if they do, odds are
they probably should at some
Matt
point.
Rule gets fired, though.
Yeah.
Right. But Matt Rule wants a quarterback who he trusts.
Yeah.
And so the Vikings right now, I think, are going through their entire roster, making decisions about who's coming back. They're probably, my guess, getting calls from guys who don't necessarily like the direction of things. They'll take that information to the combine, start off the record talks with agents as well. And I think Phil, now it's what, like 3 or 4 days where they call the legal tampering period.
Yeah.
Okay. So by the time that we get to the quote unquote legal tampering period, basically what you have is teams with very, very coherent and set plans of what they want to do going forward.
And this is what's fascinating too about the combine is, the NFL, there have been times where teams or owners or whatever will get slapped for tampering or something. So what you don't want is documented tampering, right? You don't want a device that the team gave you, a phone or something, or email. And we're seeing what's happening with Washington, and hopefully some of those emails come even more public. John Gruden, if you are sending emails or you are sending texts on a device that it's a work device or whatever, they can easily track if you're tampering. But if you're hanging out in Indianapolis and you're 3.5 beers in
St. Elmo's,
in the lobby bar,
give me the shrimp cocktail and a free agent wide receiver.
Yeah. And you can even, listen, all right. So, all right, I'm Kwesi. I'm a Vikings front office member, and you are the agent for, let's just call him a high-profile, trade candidate or something. Like, you don't even have to say names, but you can just kind of hint, like, where are you guys at with, your position groups?
Yeah.
There's ways to sort of tamper without having it be documented and getting in trouble, and that's what happens for sure at the combine, and even in the weeks leading up to the combine. So this is only just beginning. And speculation season.
It's crazy. And like, if you think that, well, things will play out, what fun is that? Like teams don't say that. Like the Vikings don't say, well, you know what? Crazy. The Cousins thing will play itself out.
We'll just see what happens.
We'll just let it play itself out.
No, they actually have to be proactive, because they have a lot of they have to be cap compliant. And there's one main contract to take from or to get rid of to become cap compliant. Otherwise, you have to start doing a lot of.
But what I don't get is this: what fans don't enjoy that? Like getting to the place where it's played out, to me, has always been, going way, way back. It's a huge part of the fun. The sport that used to perfect this way back when was baseball. The hot
meetings
stove,
and stuff.
The winter meetings, those used to be great. That's so much fun. So I don't get what the harm is with acknowledging and discussing what's going on right now.
Yeah. There was I think it was, you guys sent me this yesterday. Tim Hasselbeck went on ESPN or something. And
I was watching this.
That he thinks that Russell Wilson and the Seahawks would like a divorce.
Yeah, he basically insinuated or came out flat out said, I think both sides want a divorce.
And when Tim Hasselbeck says that,
yes,
his brother is Matt Hasselbeck, and Matt's a regular. Matt has like a weekly show on 710 ESPN.
Huge in
He's
Seattle.
super plugged into the organization.
Yes.
So Tim's not just like saying stuff like that. So listen, I don't know. The Rodgers thing is going to be interesting, but Rodgers, until further notice, is potentially available for trade. Russell Wilson. Beyond those two guys, I think Jimmy Garoppolo and Kirk Cousins are probably the most, in terms of if you're looking to upgrade at quarterback, like that's kind of the bin of 4 guys. And I count maybe 11 teams: Bucks, Broncos, Giants, Browns, Steelers, Panthers, Colts, maybe the Dolphins with Tua, but maybe not now. Commanders for sure, Niners potentially, maybe even the Saints. I mean, there's like 11 teams that are looking for a legitimate starting quarterback here.
At least one of which would make an irresponsibly dumb trade to your team.
Listen, he is the 2-minute Terminator.
You like that?
You did a great
like
job.
He is the late game luminary.
You were as close to being fraudulent and committing sports perjury. Like you walked that line, but I did enjoy it.
Did you enjoy it as much as you enjoy Surly?
Dude, I like you, but sorry. I love Surly. And in particular, of course, for Judd, it is Surly Furious IPA, the best IPA around. Your first round draft choice, that's not tough. Every season, first overall pick. My favorite, Surly Furious.
Boom. All right, boys. That's a little bonus episode for you guys. Just doing my duty. Just doing my duty here.
As I said, you came very close to crossing the sports perjury line and being disbarred, but I think we'll let it slip.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Purple Daily, we just want the Vikings to win the Super Bowl before we die.